Now, with Bristol City confirming that Gerhard Struber is indeed their new head coach at Ashton Gate for the upcoming Championship season, let's look back at how we got into this position and analyse whether Gerhard Struber is indeed the right man for the Robins ahead of what will be an important season at Ashton Gate. If we go back just a few weeks, when of course Bristol City were just fresh after going out of the playoffs at the semi-final stage to Sheffield United, things looked, despite the result of those semi-final games, relatively positive at Ashton Gate. Liam Manning certainly was talking about how important and how special that season had been at the Robins, and just how much he wanted to thank the players and supporters for all the hard work and effort they put into getting Bristol City into the playoffs in the Championship for the first time in many a year. But then all of a sudden he was gone, with Charles Hagan-Jones talking us through just how that happened to come with Liam Manning departing for Norwich City ultimately in the end.
He could be possibly departing the club now. There must be some underlying issues here in terms of investment, in terms of projects moving forward. First time in 17 years that they reached the top six in the Championship, an incredibly tough division to get out of, probably the toughest in Europe, for sure, and an amazing job delivered, especially if you look 2025. Bristol City were one of the standout outfits in an incredibly tough division again. But then suddenly, season ends and Liam Manning, you think, will go straight into the new season with so much confidence. Maybe that's not the case. Norwich City possibly going to be activating his release clause of around £800,000. But, these are Championship rivals. These are rivals. Norwich will have ambitions for promotion, as well as they have done in the last 10 years or so. They've been up and down quite a few times. Dan, our Bristol correspondent. Dan, just a word on the situation. Obviously Liam Manning, a massive season. He obviously quoted and said it was exhausting for him and the players, and he wanted a break, but this could change the landscape of a lot of things. What would this mean for Liam Manning, and what would it mean most importantly for Bristol City if he is to leave the club this summer?
Well, as we know, Liam Manning did indeed leave Ashton Gate for Norwich City. He did actually make clear that, he had nothing but respect for everyone and admiration for everyone at Ashton Gate and associated with Bristol City. But of course, it was a bit of a kick to all those at the club, given what they just achieved together in the Championship last season. But with him gone, a replacement was needed, and now we know that it is Gerhard Struber, who was, of course, in charge of FC Cologne in Germany. Gerhard Struber does, though, have managerial experience in this country with Barnsley, so you can't say he's coming into this role in a different country completely blind. He does have that experience of managing in England, which of course is vital because of the differences in terms of footballing cultures between Germany and England, and the styles of play as well. But is he the right man? Well, of course, it's hard to deduce straight away because he has only just been announced as the new man in charge at Ashton Gate. But that experience will stand him in good stead. And of course, Germany is a competitive footballing country. The Bundesliga is a very good standard. But whether he can cut it in the Championship, which of course is very different to the Bundesliga in terms of perhaps its physicality, its pace, its openness as a game as well. So that remains to be seen. But of course you have to caveat that with the fact that he does have experience managing in this country with Barnsley. I'm sure he'll draw on a lot of his experiences that he had at Barnsley. Now he's in charge of Bristol City. Of course, lots to still consider about Gerhard Struber. Perhaps Bristol City supporters won't know an awful lot, but what we can now do is hear from him following his move to Ashton Gate, and he's been chatting about his move and how much he's looking forward to getting going at the Robins.
Yeah, I think the style of play helps a lot. I think the last few months, or I would say the last few years, the club Bristol City grow in a very good direction, and the style of play what they create, I think it's a very good fit with me, with my DNA, and I think this can be a very good match, and this convinced me very quick. Also, of course, the conversation with John, with Brian, to go together, make the next necessary steps with an amazing group of players.